Hey guys, welcome back. So tonight I am going to fix a pot roast in the crock pot. And so let's run through the ingredients real quick because I want to talk about a couple of them specifically. So right here in front, we have a 3-pound beef roast right here. Right behind it, I've got about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I've got about a teaspoon of black pepper here. I've got about a teaspoon of salt here. I've got about 3 cloves of garlic that I minced up right here. I've got a couple tablespoons of cornstarch here. About a 1/4 cup of water. And about 4 cups of beef broth here. The vegetables that I'm going to put in the pot roast, I've got about 2 pounds of potatoes that I cubed up. You want these to be pretty good size. Right next to it, I think about 5 carrots that I chopped up. They're pretty coarse chopped as well. I've got 2 onions here that are pretty coarsely chopped as well. And then down here, I've got about a 6 stalks of celery. And if you notice in here, I've got the leaves in here too. The leaves on celery really have good flavor. They add a lot of flavor to whatever dish you're cooking. So usually when I add celery, I go ahead and cut up the leaves as well. A lot of people don't, but I do just because I like the flavor. So again, we've got about 6 stalks of celery with the leaves here. About 2 pretty good sized onions here. The carrots, there was about 5 or 6 carrots that I chopped up here. And a couple pounds of potatoes here. Alrighty guys, so I've sprayed the crock pot. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna lay the roast down there in the crock pot. Then we're gonna add all of our spices. So we're gonna add the Italian seasoning right there. We're gonna add the black pepper, salt, and the garlic. Yum, yum. You know, I put garlic in everything. And then we're going to put the vegetables in here around the roast. Now, a lot of people, when they make a pot roast, they just go with potatoes, or they go with potatoes and carrots, or they go with potatoes, carrots, and celery. I really like the potatoes, carrots, celery, and onions, all 4 in my pot roast. Some people don't. I do. If you don't like celery, don't put it in there. If you don't like carrots, don't put it in there. Half my family doesn't like onions, so if you don't like onions, don't put them in there. But I like all 4 of them. My husband likes all 4 of them. And last but not least, we're gonna add the beef broth. So we'll put the beef broth in here. We'll put the lid on it. Set it on low for 8 hours, and dinner will be served. Alrighty guys, so the pot roast has been in the crock pot for about 8 hours. And so we're just gonna move this out of the way. And we're going to take the roast out, and then we're gonna dip all of the vegetables out, and then we're gonna make a gravy with the broth that is in here. So there's the roast. That's really tender. And then I'm gonna dig these vegetables out of here so I can make the gravy. So again, remember I put potatoes and celery and onions and carrots. If any of these you don't like, don't put them in there. You don't have to put everything in there that I put in there. I just really enjoy all 4 of those. I love the flavor that celery gives to pot roasts and beef stew and soups and things like that. Celery is really, really, really flavorful. And then of course, you've got the potatoes and the carrots. And then, you know, I always put onions in everything I cook, so I've always got onions in there. So, big roast, lots of vegetables. And I think that'll be good enough. So, what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna cover this with some aluminum foil so it doesn't get cold while I make the gravy. So I've got a couple pieces here I'm just going to put over it, kind of tuck it in underneath. And again, this is just to keep it from getting cold while I make the gravy. I'm going to cover that up real quick. Just like that. Alrighty guys, so over here I have a 1/4 cup of water and I've got about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And we're going to mix these together. Make sure your water is cold. You don't want it warm or hot because then it'll start thickening when you put the cornstarch in there. So we're just going to mix the water, cold water, and the cornstarch. Pour it in the crock pot and stir it. It should thicken up to a really nice gravy that then we'll be able to pour on the roast and the vegetables. So here's the final product. I got my pot roast here, turned out wonderful. I've got my mixed vegetables here, celery, carrots, potatoes, and onions. I put a couple sweet Hawaiian rolls to go with it. I thickened up the juice in the crock pot with some cornstarch, and so I got a nice gravy. You can see the gravy poured all over the top of that. And there you have it, a wonderful pot roast, good eating, beef, potatoes, carrots, celery, onions, and our sweet Hawaiian rolls. Thanks so much. See you next time. Hey guys, so if you liked the video, just subscribe, click the bell button so you can get notifications of our future videos, and share it, comment, and like, and all that other stuff for us. We'd really appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.